Hi, I'm Ollie, and I travel the world in search of great food. For this series, I've come here to Italy to be inspired by Rome's most talented home cooks. I'm going to find out their secrets, and then head to the studio kitchen to cook an easy-to-follow recipe that even I can do. Today, I put pasta in soup. Soup. A dish held in such high esteem, we even gave it its own spoon. To find out more about soup, I've travelled 60 minutes east of Rome to here, the beautiful Tivoli, to meet Rosetta, a talented home cook who likes nothing more than to make a hearty broth. I can't wait to meet her and see how I can level up my own soups with a bit of Italian flair. So what are we going to cook today?
Rice and chicory. Put it inside for 5 minutes. Now, Ollie, let's prepare the broth.
Great, we're going to make our own stock.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So do you always start with a cold water to make your stock?
Yes. Now you will prepare some soffritto and some broth.
Okay.
And
excuse me, what's
yes.
what's soffritto?
A soffritto is made by some celery, carrots, and some onion. You put it inside with some olive oil.
Oh, so it's like a French mirepoix.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
That's right,
Okay.
that's right. Onion, like that.
Okay. So you're not chopping too finely.
No. And then the quantity depends on your taste.
But your ratio is about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3.
Yeah.
Okay.
We add some garlic and then this special olive oil. No butter. It's unbelievable.
That's
isn't it?
amazing. So strong.
My father make it.
Your father makes olive oil.
Yes. It's from
Wow.
a grove. We wait for a few minutes.
Oh, and what are you adding now?
Some hot pepper. Then some guanciale.
Oh, okay, great.
Now, yeah, like that.
And of course, the guanciale is also full of fat, right? So that fat will render.
Yes. So it gives a stronger taste. Otherwise, it's too mild. Can you smell it?
Oh, that smells amazing. It's really, really beautiful. You can smell the olive oil. You can smell that amazing pork, the smokiness, the garlics.
Broth is changing color. Now we're ready to add some rice.
Okay, so there isn't much water in here, is there? It's mainly
because later we're using this broth to cook the rice.
I see, okay.
You wait for a while, and then we're adding some coarse salt. Okay, and now slowly let's add some broth. Like that.
So far this is almost identical to a risotto.
Yes, it's very, very similar to risotto.
So how much broth will we add?
Well, it depends on the rice, the quantity of the rice. About half a liter.
Okay.
Yeah? See?
So you're doing most of your seasoning at the end?
Mm-hmm. Yes. You can add some parmesan if you like, or some smoked cheese. It depends on you. I like smoked cheese very much. It's from Rome.
Okay. That's beautiful. So what for you is the secret of a great soup?
I think that the real secret is to add just a little bit of olive oil, fresh olive oil.
Yeah.
At the top, that's the secret. The secret is by using genuine ingredients, because we used olive oil from a grove, chicory from a farmer market.
Great. Well, you've given me so much inspiration today. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to head to the farmer's market and see if I can put all of your techniques and this way of thinking about soup into practice back in the kitchen. It was a long drive back to the kitchen, so I took a break to have a think about soup. 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 Thinking too hard about the concept of soup is a super easy way of triggering an existential crisis. Before Rosetta's masterclass, I didn't even realise you could put rice in soup. So to continue my journey of soup exploration, I'm going to be making an Italian pasta e fagioli, which is soup that has pasta inside. So to start, I'm going to make my stock using exactly the recipe that Rosetta taught me. I'm going to be taking an onion, slice it in half and remove the skin. Slice that onion in half. I'm getting emotional just thinking about putting pasta in soup. Then to that, I'm going to add some carrots, some celery. And this I'm going to add to 500 millilitres of water. Next up is going to be the base layer of flavour for the soup. And for this, I'm going to make a sofrito using a carrot, some celery, and an onion, exactly the same as what went into the stock. And the plan is to chop these 3 vegetables into equal sized pieces and then fry them off in olive oil. So I've chopped my veg into perfectly equal sized pieces, and now all that's left to do is to add it to the pan with some olive oil. And so keeping this on a medium to low heat, I'm just going to let these sweat off for about 6 or 7 minutes. Normally, if a recipe calls for 1 clove of garlic, I'll normally put 3 in. Now this recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic. Actually, no, they're quite small. Let's make that 5. So now I'm going to finely chop the garlic. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking, this is quite a lot of garlic, isn't this going to taste like garlic? Yeah, it will, and it's going to be delicious. Then we take the garlic and put it in the pan. And while the garlic sweats off, I'm going to get some rosemary. You can probably put these in whole, but I'm just going to give them a little chop. This is already smelling amazing. And now I'm going to prepare the tomatoes. I found these beautiful tomatoes at the market outside, really plump and juicy. So this is 6 tomatoes, which is about 500 grams. Yeah, just over. So I'm going to chop these up. I'll leave the skins on. You can take the skins off if you want to. So I'm now turning the heat from a low to a medium, and I'm going to add the tomatoes straight into this pan. The tomatoes have been sweating off for about 5 or 6 minutes, so I'm now just going to give them a little mush. Get all of that amazing tomato juice out. And now that I've given those tomatoes a good seeing to, I'm going to add my first 2 or 3 ladles of stock. So once you've added your first 2 or 3 ladles of stock, you can cover the lid and leave it to simmer for 2 to 3 minutes, which is just long enough for me to talk to you about beans. Now this recipe requires you to use berlotti beans. The best ones to get are the fresh ones if they're in season. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any, but the next best alternative is to use these beautiful dried berlotti beans. They're absolutely gorgeous. They've got this amazing marbling. If you're going to use these, make sure to soak them in water for about 12 hours before you use them in your recipe. Now, I forgot to do this. So the third best alternative is to use these, just standard canned berlotti beans. What I've done is I've just drained the water out and I've let them dry. So now I'm going to add these beans into the pot and add another couple of ladles of stock. Adding these cold beans to the soup will lower the temperature of the soup. So I'm just going to whack the temperature up to high, bring it back up to boil, put the lid back on, and let it simmer for another 10 minutes. Smells amazing. I think it's ready to add the pasta. So you can use any dried pasta that you like. I've decided to go for this amazing farfalline. The reason being is I like the shape. Apparently it means butterfly in Italian. I think it looks more like a little bow tie, but in any case, we're going to use 180 grams of this. So I've brought this flame now up to a high heat because the pasta packet said it takes 7 minutes to cook, which means I have about 5 minutes to impart some last minute flavour. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this rind of parmesan that I was about to throw away, just take this dirty end off and stick that in for a little bit of cheesy extra flavour. And then that I can stick straight in the pot. And additionally, I like my soup to have a bit of a kick, so I'm going to add a very small pinch of red pepper flakes, as well as one of these amazing dried chilies. And then finally, a pinch of salt. 7 minutes have elapsed and It smells amazing. I just need to take out this Parmesan rind and this little chili. And just as Rosetta said, finish it off with some good quality olive oil. And that is my pasta e fagioli and my existential crisis over.